The October fog was so thick it seemed to breathe, curling through the trees and clinging to the cracked asphalt of County Route 19. Liam Hart tightened his jacket and adjusted the strap of his tool bag as he walked, his boots crunching over gravel. He'd been heading toward a roofing job when he saw it. A dark shape in the ditch ahead, half hidden by reeds. At first, he thought it was an animal. Then he saw the pale outline of a hand. His heart jumped. "Hey!" he called out, his voice echoing. No response. He broke into a run. It was a woman, her clothes torn, her face bruised, blood dried at her temple. She looked expensive even in ruin, her jewelry gleaming faintly in the gray light. Liam crouched beside her and checked for a pulse. Faint, but there. "Hold on," he muttered, pulling off his jacket and wrapping it around her. "You're not dying on my watch." He lifted her. She was shockingly light, and began the long walk back toward his truck, parked a mile down the road. She made a faint sound, something between a whimper and a plea. "You're safe," he said, though he wasn't sure she was. Not yet. The hospital lights were harsh, the kind that drained color out of everything. Liam sat in the corner of the waiting room, hands wrapped around a cup of cold coffee. The nurse had called her condition critical but stable. "Who is she?" he'd asked. They didn't know. No ID, no phone, nothing but a torn silk blouse and a gold bracelet engraved with the initials IC. By the next morning, a detective arrived, a tired man with lines carved deep around his eyes. "You're the one who found her?" he asked. "Yeah," Liam said. "On Route 19, near the old mill road." The detective flipped open his notebook. "You may have just found Isabella Crane. She's been missing since Tuesday." Liam frowned. The Isabella Crane? The Crane Industries woman? "The same," the detective said. "Worth billions. Someone didn't want her found." When Liam returned to the hospital 2 days later, the woman was awake. He stood in the doorway, unsure whether to step in. Her hair, a cascade of dark gold, was brushed and clean now. But her eyes, sharp gray with an edge of steel, tracked him immediately. "You're the one who found me," she said, voice hoarse but steady. "Guess so," he said awkwardly. "You were in pretty bad shape." A faint smile touched her lips. "And yet here I am, alive, thanks to you." He shrugged. "Anyone would have helped." Her expression shifted, something almost sad flickering behind her gaze. "You'd be surprised how often people look the other way." There was silence. Then softly, "What's your name?" "Liam Hart." "Mr. Hart, I owe you more than I can repay." "Just Liam's fine, and you don't owe me anything." Her eyes held his, searching, maybe testing. That's not something I hear often. Over the next week, Liam found himself stopping by the hospital more often than he planned. Dropping off flowers from Mrs. Keene's garden stand, a few magazines, a cup of the decent coffee from the diner. Isabella always seemed surprised to see him, but never unhappy about it. She was recovering quickly, but the truth of what had happened came in fragments. A private meeting, a car that never reached its destination, a struggle, then darkness. When she spoke of it, there was no tremor in her voice, only calculation. "It wasn't a random attack," she said one afternoon. "Someone wanted me gone." Liam didn't ask who, not yet. But he saw the flicker in her eyes when the news came on the hospital TV about Crane Industries' board calling an emergency vote to appoint interim leadership. He'd seen that look before, in his own mirror, after his construction business collapsed when his partner ran off with the funds. The look of someone watching everything they'd built crumble, powerless to stop it. When Isabella was discharged, the detective suggested a security detail. She refused. "I'm not running," she said flatly. Her penthouse was sealed off for investigation, so she had nowhere to go. Against every instinct he had, Liam heard himself say, "You can stay at my place, just until you figure things out." She blinked, clearly taken aback. "Your place?" "Yeah, old farmhouse. Not fancy, but it's quiet, and nobody will think to look for you there." A long silence followed. Then she nodded. "All right, but only until I can walk again." The farmhouse creaked with age, but it was warm. Liam carried her inside, setting her carefully on the couch. His 10-year-old son, Jacob, peeked around the corner, eyes wide. "Who's that, Dad?" "This is Ms. Crane. She's staying for a few days." Jacob's face brightened. "Cool. Do you like grilled cheese? 'Cause Dad burns it." Isabella laughed, an honest, musical sound that made the old house feel brighter somehow. "I'll risk it." Over the following days, something in the rhythm of the house shifted. Liam would head to work before dawn, leaving coffee on the counter. Isabella, confined mostly to the couch and a borrowed wheelchair, spent her hours scrolling through documents on her laptop, whispering to lawyers on the phone. Jacob adored her instantly, peppering her with questions about her company and her favorite superhero. She answered every one. By evening, the three of them would share dinner at the worn kitchen table. And Liam began to notice things. How her laughter filled the quiet rooms. How she looked when she was lost in thought, the strength beneath her polished exterior. One night, after Jacob went to bed, she caught him watching her as she read. "What?" she asked, half smiling. "Just trying to figure you out," he said. "You've got the kind of face that looks like it's been both to hell and the boardroom." She laughed softly. "That's not inaccurate." 2 weeks later, the truth came out. Her half-brother, Victor Crane, had orchestrated her accident. He'd siphoned millions from the company and planned to declare her mentally unfit to return. But Isabella had been quietly gathering evidence even before the attack. Encrypted files, signed transfers, offshore accounts. She told Liam everything one night as rain lashed against the windows. "I trusted him," she said quietly. "He said family came first. I was stupid enough to believe it." Liam poured her another cup of coffee. "He's the one who should be afraid now." Her smile was small, dangerous. "Oh, he is." When the case finally went public, it was explosive. Victor was arrested, and Crane Industries' shares nosedived before rebounding under Isabella's steady command. She returned to her office, walking with the help of a new cane, the world watching her comeback. But something in her had changed. The steel was still there, but softer around the edges. A month later, she returned to the farmhouse, unannounced. Liam was fixing the porch railing when her car pulled up. "I brought your son the drone he wouldn't stop talking about," she said, stepping carefully onto the porch. He smiled. "You didn't have to do that." "I know." She hesitated. "That's not the only reason I came." He wiped his hands on his jeans. "Then why?" Her gaze met his. "Because in that house, I remembered what it felt like to be seen. Not as a CEO, not as a symbol, just as a woman. Maybe that's all I saw from the start," he said quietly. They stood there, the air thick with unspoken things, until she reached out and touched his hand. "Liam, what if we both stopped running from what's in front of us?" He took a slow breath. "Then maybe it's time we start walking toward it." She smiled, the kind that reached her eyes this time. And for the first time since that morning on the foggy road, Liam felt like the world had tilted back into place. Months later, Isabella Crane and Liam Hart became an unlikely pair. the billionaire and the builder. She rebuilt her company around integrity and accessibility. He rebuilt her ancestral estate into something resembling a home. Jacob called her Izzy now and insisted she made better pancakes than his dad. And on quiet nights, when the fog rolled in again across the hills, Isabella would take Liam's hand and whisper, "Funny how one broken road led us here." He'd smile, brushing his thumb over the small scar at her wrist. "Yeah," he'd say. "Guess sometimes you've got to get lost before you find where you belong."